Let's practice writing transformations of a variety of function. Given this function f of x, we want to write a new function g where f of x has been translated down 3 units. So g of x equals f of x minus 3. We can replace f of x with the expression for f of x and simplify. Our transformed function g of x equals 2x minus 2. Next, we're going to write a function h based off of f of x being translated to the left 2 units. Well, h of x equals f of x going to the left, inside opposite, x plus 2. Now we go to our f of x function and replace x with that x plus 2. Then we can simplify h of x. h of x equals 2x plus 5. Now let's transform an absolute value function. Given f of x, we want to write a function for g where f of x has been reflected in the x-axis. Well, that's going to be g of x equals negative f of x. So let's replace f of x with its expression and then distribute that negative 1. But be careful, we can't distribute into an absolute value expression. We can, however, distribute that negative 1 to the positive 1. Now we want to write a function h where f of x has been reflected about the y-axis. I don't think we've seen this before. We multiplied the entire function above by negative 1, and that reflected about the x-axis. So in order to reflect about the y-axis, we're only going to multiply the x by negative 1. Once we insert the expression for f of x, replacing x with negative x, we can clean this up. Pulling that negative 1 out front, absolute value of negative 1 times the absolute value of x minus 3. And then, of course, we know absolute value of a negative 1 is positive 1, so our new expression, fully simplified, is h of x equals absolute value of x minus 3 plus 1. Try the next one and come back and check with me. How'd you do? I think the only tricky thing here is like we did before. When you're multiplying an absolute value by that negative 1 like we did before, or 2 like we're doing now, don't multiply it into the absolute value, but go ahead and distribute the 2 into that negative 5. Now let's write a function g that's a horizontal shrink of f by a factor of 1/3. Now remember, horizontal, so we have to take the reciprocal of that shrink to plug it back into our function. So h of x equals f of 3x. f of 3x simply means that we substitute 3x anywhere we see an x in that f function. So now g of x equals the absolute value of 3x minus 3 minus 5. Well, that's interesting. Let's look at this function in terms of a transformation of the parent function y equals absolute value of x. That means we have some work to do. We need to factor out of 3 in that absolute value so that we can clearly see the transformations. Now we can see that we have a horizontal shrink by a factor of 1/3. We've translated to the right 1 unit and down 5 units. Function, blah, blah, blah. I forgot the number. Okay, you ready? Let's go. We did it. We survived the take. You're up.